Okay, today I'm going to make a short review of some prophecies that the Holy Spirit has shown me that have become fulfilled after the time that I posted the warnings, and one other warning that he showed me. Then I'm going to show you the biggest threat to the future of a free humanity. Showing you these other things only because I want you to believe what I'm going to tell you. Notice down here in the lower left-hand corner, 15 years ago, I posted this warning. I'd been praying 7 nights. Lord, what is the sign to leave America? And he showed me this strange event. You can go watch the video. It's short. Involving 4 journalists. One is the mentor to at least one of the others. He has 2 consonants near the end of his name. And later, this was fulfilled. Al Gore sent 2 of his journalists, accompanied by their mentor, whose name had 4 letters, ended in a double consonant, and they were captured by North Korea, exactly as I saw in the dream. Journalists captured and taken into Korea. So this part is fulfilled. And the other part is the warning about when you should leave America, and that is when Japan folds. When Japan folds to China. This one over here, this is a 2-part dream. This is something the Holy Spirit does a lot. The first part of this dream showed the city of Kiev sieged from the east in a crescent-shaped attack, flanking around to the north and south. My friends, that happened on 24 February 2022. The next thing in that dream is siege of Los Angeles. Okay, 7 years ago, in July of 2016, Holy Spirit gave me this word. Let me tell you, if there's something you don't want to report, this was it for me. I really, you can see 2 minutes and 10 seconds. I just said what I was told and ended the clip. He told me, said, warn that leaders in Ukraine are going to die. Now, when I said that, private interpretation, I thought, hey, up in Kiev, there's going to be some mourning. Nope, wrong. The leaders God was tired of, had enough of, were the leaders of the militant battalions in occupied eastern Ukraine. Because, see, now, often things happen within 1 year. God tells me this, and it happens within a year. Sometimes exactly 1 year later. With this one, the Holy Spirit told me it's going to be a little more than a year. Like he told me, because he knew how I was thinking already, this is going to happen within 1 year. He told me a little more than a year. And in 14 months, every single one of the leaders of the Russian, Chechen, traitorous battalions in eastern Ukraine, they all were killed. And mostly by their own men. Their own men fragged them, okay? So that was fulfilled within 14 months and a little more than a year, exactly as the Holy Spirit told me. This one I posted after the fact because I just was reading about his death somewhere, and the Holy Spirit said, go and count the time between when he published his first book against God and his actual death. And it came out to be 55.5 months. Now, this number 555 is something that God has taught me about, and it means something like accelerated death enforced by a supernatural force. Killed him. That's what God showed me. God killed this man. He thought he was just saying whatever he wanted. No, he doesn't have permission. There's a power that judges, right? So for some reason, God wanted me to include that in here. So there it is. Now, this was a dream I had in 1995. This dream showed me, I have this kind of a sketch here. It's fungus growing in a human tissue somewhere. And he showed me this, the body builds a specialized protective layer of cells. And the dream showed me what happens is when they go and scrape the tumor, they only get these outside cells, and they say, oh, there are aberrant human cells, because they don't know what these cells are doing. That's what they say. He said, but really they're sectioning off a growth of fungus so it can't overgrow the body. That's what God showed me. Later, there was a doctor named Tullio Simoncini, a researcher from Italy, and he proved that this is in fact the case. And it was some years after 1995 as well. This was something, sometimes God teaches you by putting you into a situation. In 2015, I experienced this false epidemic scare, and I researched all the newspapers and everything, and it was 100% the Russian language papers. It was 2015. I was in Slavyansk working for the Red Cross, rebuilding homes for people that were poor, who had no money to rebuild after the Russians bombed their homes down to the foundation. Okay, so that's what we were doing. I'm an structural engineer building homes. And the girls in the office came in, they said, oh, there's an epidemic going around. We can't come into the office tomorrow. We go on the public bus. We're going to be exposed to this sickness. I'm like, where are you hearing this? Like, oh, I read it in the newspaper. I said, listen, all you sit down, call everybody in your phone registry and ask everybody if they personally know anybody who has died like they're saying in these newspapers. And there was no reports, none. They found one woman's aunt who lived in Kramatorsk, had a friend whose uncle died, and he was 88 years old. That's like 110 in Ukrainian years. It was fake. A week later, the town council came out and said, listen, there's nothing to this. It's all a fraud. It was a deception. You go back to your life as normal. So God had showed me that. And on December 8th, listen to this date, December 8th, 2018, the Holy Spirit started pushing me, make this video, tell people about what you experienced. So I made this video. This is what I call it. Is Russia planning a bioterror to blame the U.S. and rally Russians for war? Because in those papers that I read, I collected all these papers and gazettes, flyers I pulled down off billboards. They're saying the Americans have these secret biolabs. See, they were practicing their plan. They want to see how effective it would be. And they blamed the United States. And that's what's happening right now. And outside the U.S., they're blaming America for everything. AIDS epidemic, for the potato famines, any kind of economic or food or personal problems that go on in Russia. Putin or someone in Moscow blames the U.S. Why? They're fomenting hatred because that's their real goal. Their goal is not Ukraine. They want Europe. They want the United States. And why do they want those things? 10 years in advance, Holy Spirit showed me this war, and he explained it to me at the end of the vision. He said, this is a war between those who want money first. That's the Satanists, my friend, because they control money printing facilities. They control those things. And then he showed me that, he told me December 8th, make this. So I made this video. I posted it December 8th, 2018. I was obedient. I posted it on the same day. And then what happened? December 8th, exactly 1 year later, like I told you, sometimes this is how God does it. Exactly 1 year. Exactly 1 year later, the first case of Wuhan virus was released in international media 1 year later. And guess what happened 1 year after that? December 8th, 2020. Go look these things up. They're facts. You could see when my video was posted. Now, I'm going to tell you what the greatest threat. Now, you won't find these videos on YouTube or Rumble or my other stations because they delete them. YouTube almost banished me. This video is about, that's an effect of the thing that I mentioned earlier. This thing right here, see this word nanobots? That's inside the vials. Just makes me think, they say the vials, they stick it in there. Some people are saying this is true, it is not. All right? That's something different, that's something different, that's something different. This one right here. This is the one I want you to watch. You see this? That's their ultimate goal. When this thing gets installed, it's going to create a hive mind, and you can look this up. They're calling it a super brain. And when that thing gets installed, they're going to say, oh, everyone, it's egalitarian. This is what the Holy Spirit showing. They're going to tell people it is egalitarian, but it won't be. What will start to happen is people will lose their intellect, their individuality. They will start becoming the same. They will start modifying their sexual behavior, their social characteristics. They will become different people because the minds are all melding together and one. But here's the thing they're not going to tell you. It's a computer system. And if you know computers, you know that computers run on a loop. All of them but one are called slaves, and one is called the master. It issues the timing to all of the others. It creates synchronized preambles to spread and share information. There's one master and the others are slaves. And that's how this hive mind is going to be. But here's the horrible part. Here's the horrible part. Now, I've just showed you all these things God showed me already. And this is where he showed me that the master is going to be a demonic entity. And when he gets control, now the Holy Spirit showed me in another dream, they hope to complete this system within 3 generations. Not 3 times 40, 120 years, but 3 generations, a grandma, a mom, and a daughter. So that by the 3rd generation, they hope to have this active and under their control. However long that takes, 60 years, maybe a little more, that's what they're planning. The greatest threat to humanity is nanotech. My friends, once they introduced steel onto the battlefield, it never left. Once they introduced black powder onto the battlefield, it never left. And this is what the Holy Spirit told me. Once this nanotech comes out, it will never leave. It will be involved in every future war. Nanotech is a great threat to humanity and even to freedom of thought itself. This is the man from Modesto reminding you, as always, to pray or be defeated.